Hello YouTube, this is Surplus Hound and welcome back. I know I don't typically upload that often, but whenever I do, I try to make it special. And I do have some more stuff planned in the future that's a little more modern, but right now we're still sticking with the Soviet theme, as that's what I'm more focused on lately. And today I have brought y'all something very unique. This is the Kolobok backpack, made by, to my understanding, the Abakalov brothers company or firm, or it's probably state-owned, but the Abakalov, it's kind of a funny word, bear with me, brothers in the Soviet Union had manufactured a series of different mountain packs for the Soviet mountaineering community. Now, during the Soviet Afghan War, as you've seen from some previous videos like the RD-54, most standard Soviet military backpacks were not really designed for long-range patrol or recon or, carrying long-term in the field really anyway. So, a lot, well, more of a minority, but I think it was more heavily used in the Special Forces community. But predominantly a lot of officers and maybe some soldiers would manage to get a hold of Kolobok backpacks, as well as other models other than this one, for use in the field. Now, obviously, the reason had to do with how much you could carry in the field, comfort, storage capacity, all that. And today I'm going to show you some of the features of this Kolobok, and I'm using this for a Spetsnaz impression. I'm not really in it right now, it's just kind of looking in character somewhat. But in the future, some of the stuff that I've stowed in this backpack, I will show you for some other videos and some other stuff. But for right now, we're mostly focusing on the backpack. So I'm going to bring it closer to you, and we're going to look at the how it looks. So, as you can see, the Kolobok is a very uniquely rounded shape, and that's part of how it got its nickname, Kolobok. So Kolobok relates to a Russian fairy tale of a it's kind of funny, but a magical dough man or something like that. So, if I have any Russian viewers, please forgive me for butchering the words or the fairy tale. But basically, a lot of Soviet soldiers thought the shape of this backpack reminded them of the fairy tale of Kolobok. And it's kind of funny when you think about it. The brothers Abakalov or something like that sounds almost similar. Kolobok, Abakalov. I mean, maybe it's just the syllables. But anyway, I digress. So, as you can see, you've got a compartment here in the front. You've got a compartment here on the side with a nurse strap, as well as one right here. And then the flap here even has a flap up in the lid, or what do you want to call it, the enclosure flap. Now, let me bring my chair a little closer. We're going to sit down here. We're going to go through it. So, here's the Kolobok. Now, let's look at the straps. So up here you've got canvas, whereas down here you've got I believe it's either leather or synthetic leather. It also uses these buckles. I try not to use it too much because I'm worried of age it might break. I might have to replace it with canvas if it does. Probably something preferably of this color. Probably just take it from a decommissioned Chicom rig or something. But let's go ahead and get into the meat and bones of this thing. So, obviously to open, you got your leather strap enclosures right here, buckles. Now, what I really like about this pack is, other than that, it's also got this tie enclosure. And as I mentioned previously, here's that little flap in the enclosure. Now, let's get this open. I just tied it like I tie a shoe, so I can just get it open pretty quick. Now, I'm not really sure the usage of these, but they got these little metal rings here on the end. Maybe it's to enclose it or hook it a certain way. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a very interesting pack. Now, let me show you what all I got fit in here. So, I got 2 of these late war steel cups that came from Ukraine, as well as I got a modern Russian towel. Then I've got my hair clippers, which let me go ahead and break these out and show them to you. Basically just little hand crank hair clippers. I've used them, they work. I can attest to it. You just gotta make sure they're sharpened. You can use a grindstone, but you gotta be easy with it. You don't want to damage it too much. And then I've got my VDV, or airborne boiler. Let me go ahead and open this up and show it to you. This is basically a canteen and a cooking set all in one. Now, you might see a little black stuff on it because I've actually used it. Cooked some Southwest rice and beans from an MRE package. Not bad. But, let me go ahead. You got this here, this little thing. It basically keeps the canteen and the cooking pot in place. Essentially, that's what it is. And then you got your little bowl or plate here. This is what I use as a plate or a bowl. You know, I just get my stuff in there, let it cool. We'll do a video in the future of this where I'm out in the field, and I'll show you how I typically use it. But I'll also be reviewing, spoiler alert, a reproduction Soviet Army ration. So we're going to try and get a little bit of an idea of how Soviet troops in the field cook their food. Now, also for the canteen, it's got a pretty standard chain keeper. And overall, after cleaning and getting the cosmoline off and putting some purification tablets in this, wasn't a bad little setup. So let's go ahead and get this put away. But I bought this from Amazon, surprisingly, from a company in Ukraine. Took a little bit to get here, but when it got here, I was kind of surprised how fast it got here. I've also ordered some sneakers from Ukraine. It's really the only place I can seem to get stuff right now. So it's kind of funny, but I mean, it makes sense when you take into account what's going on in the world these days. But anyway, let's try to keep everything apolitical here. So other than that, we've also got this U.S. Army pot. I'm just keeping it in there for when I'm actually out if I need an extra, you know, because it doesn't hurt to have extra stuff. And then the rest of what I have in here is a Soviet Army blanket, and one plush palatka. Although I've actually stuffed like 2 or 3 in here before. And with that, the only other thing left in here is my little journal that I keep just for out in the field if I need to write stuff down, like things I learn or whatever. Put a little airborne patch on the front. It's a old logistics book that a friend gave to me. I like it. Now, with that, we have the Kolobok now that it's empty. And what I like about the Kolobok is it's something that I can actually just kind of fold up and keep easily stored. You know, it's basically just a canvas cloth backpack with some leather and metal fittings. Now, on the inside, it's pretty plain Jane. It's just canvas, and it's got a few holes here and there. Obviously, it's a vintage backpack. You know, it's it's obviously going to have some wear and tear. But overall, I would say that for reenactment, this isn't a bad bag, but I would also keep in mind that if you're doing Soviet 40th Army reenacting in Afghanistan, keep in mind that this was not the most common bag. Your best bet, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing airborne troops or VV, you want a RD-54 for standard. And I believe if you're motor rifles or, you know, standard military infantry, basically, like anything other than paratroop forces, you're going to want a Beshmashak or a Sidor. And Kolobok is more like a rarity. I think it's seen more amongst Spetsnaz officers and maybe a soldier who knows somebody. So with that, I believe that will conclude this short but educational video. And as always, my surplus addicts, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. If you have any constructive criticism or positive feedback, please do let me know in the comments. You know, your input is valuable. And with that, I will see y'all later. Kushti.